So as you may know, I'm the CEO at Didit. My background is in engineering. So I'm a coder. 7 years ago, I was an AI engineer as well. But whenever you are a founder, you need to do everything. So basically, these last couple of years, I specialize a lot in go-to-market. And the company Didit, I'm managing the go-to-market myself. So I want to explain a little bit more about go-to-market because I think most of the founders, they don't know much about it. And they think go-to-market is just posting on LinkedIn, posting on X and getting like viral. But go-to-market is not like that. Go-to-market is building a machine that you can get customers forever. And that's pretty much what I want to explain is how did I start it? How did I learn about go-to-market? And putting as well some case study, which was our med spa, which I'm going to explain now. So I'm going to explain basically how did I started learning about go-to-market. And it was by necessity. So at the time we founded Didit, and also we did the crazy idea of founding a med spa, which is called Santé, which now is also on the anti-aging business and many more things. But there was a problem, and is that in order to have a very successful med spa, especially in Barcelona, you need to do very good marketing. So we opened the med spa, we were 3 months in, and we were losing like $25,000 every month. So I said, okay, this is not sustainable. I need to learn how to do brand. I need to learn how to do properly marketing. I need to learn about everything. It's a very important skill that you need to learn. But I learned it by necessity, basically. So what are the rationale behind any good go-to-market strategy? What I think and what worked very well for me is, first of all, is you need to get reputation on the market. So they need to trust you somehow. So one of the strategies is always, how can you make people trust you and trust your brand? And also is, how can you get people not only trusted, but how can you make people know about it? So it's like, how can you fill the top of the funnel? And how can you make sure that whenever someone lands into your brand, into your product and services, they really trust you and then they convert. So it's a big strategy that you need to think about normally as a funnel. How do I fill the top of the funnel? And then how can I make the experience so good so every stage on the funnel converts very well? And obviously that brings you to have like a good reputation. So the conversion rate of the funnel is great and also be very smooth. And also there is a combination of product. I'm going to show you pretty much the results now, 1.5 years later. So our first med spa aesthetic clinic that we opened is now doing more than $5 million in revenue a year. Okay, so the clinic is full and is one of the biggest med spa business in Barcelona. And I didn't know anything about med spas, and I didn't know anything about marketing before reaching that point. So what I want to explain here is that you can actually learn about go-to-market and be able to position anything on the top of your market if you put the dedication on it. So as you see now, for example, if you go to Santé, you will see 4.9 stars, 780 reviews. When you look at it, amazing images, everything, the scoring, the positioning. So there is a lot of work involving SEO, geo, paid media, and many other things. But I explain you the rationale now, how I started, okay? So the first thing, when you want to build a good brand, when you want to grow the strategy of a company, for me is you need to build a good brand. So that obviously involves the basic things like, having, a good logo, doing high quality images, that everything has and respects the branding guidelines. So every time that they see the brand, it is the same typography, the same colors, that you can smell quality on it. It's not a perfect science, it's more like intuition. But the first objective is, I want to build a big brand, because big brands compounds, and then the cost of acquisition of any customer when you build a big brand goes down a lot. So my first idea was, okay, let's build a good brand. And the start, obviously, it starts with a good name, with a good domain. It starts with a good logo, typography. And obviously, when you do all this work, the websites, the social media, everything has to represent this brand that you just created, okay? So that was the first thing I did. And in that case, as you see the brand, we choose a very simple, minimalistic brand, and because it represents as well the design of the interior of the clinic. So if you go to the clinic of the med spa, it's actually the same. It is white, it's like very minimalistic, the design. So everything, the people on their consciousness, they have to think like, oh, that makes sense. Everything is the same. So that was the first job that I did. Is okay. Let's define very good branding guidelines. It's the first step of any marketing strategy. Is define very well the brand, and that also involves the messaging, the ICP. So in our case, for example, for me it was very clear, and I like to do it by intuition myself. There is other people that do it in other ways, but I like to move and understand marketing by intuition, trying to understand who is my ICP and how do they think. So in my case, it was easy. So is a med spa, which is in Barcelona. What do people want? They want to feel more confident. They want to be more aesthetic. They want to feel better. Okay. So the messaging has to be on that direction. So if you realize now it is on Spanish, but it's like, be your best self. And then as you realize on the second line is doctors and professionals with more than 10 years of experience. And then on the third line, you do facial treatments, corporal and hair treatments. So if you realize the first one is about the messaging is, I want you to go to Santé and I want you to be better. The second one is, how do I make people trust me as well? Which is, we have more than 10 years of experience on our professional, our doctors. And then the third one is, what do I offer? Is like facial treatments, corporal treatments, and hair treatments. And we do many more things now, but in general, we want that the first impression of the people say, okay, that makes sense. I like it. I like the brand, everything obviously is verified. So that's very important. You can go down and you can see the quality of the recordings. We can see, for example, a video that we do, before and after. So everything regarding the brand has to be very well thought. And that's the first thing, okay? So once I did that and I defined very well the brand, it was about, okay, I think for me at least is, how do you make people trust you? Okay, that's even before I think about how do I make people come to you. Obviously, I have my intuition. I know if I do these things, I can fill the top of the funnel and people will come to the clinic. But the second thing is, how do I make people trust me? So you do things like more than 10 years of experience. Obviously, you hire the best, in our case, the best doctors that you can. You make videos of the doctors, for example, explaining a few things, doing treatments with laser, explaining things. So all of this, what at the end of the day makes is that people can trust you. They go here, they arrive to the top of the funnel and they say, okay, that seems legit. That seems I can trust this brand. So we do a very good work here. Obviously, you need to, let's go to the website. So you see as well, there is a lot of work involving the website. So it has to be clean, respecting the branding guidelines, YouTube videos, all the 4.9 in Google, more than 15,000 patients. Obviously, this is because we have been a long time on it, explaining the vision. If you can show as well, if you can humanize the experience, that means showing, for example, who works here. And if you go here, you're going to see, for example, on the About Us of our page, okay, these are the doctors and people working in Santé. And you can go, for example, and even see videos. So all of this, at the end of the day, is just because I want people to trust my brand, and I make a very good effort on that. There is many ways of doing it. There is PR. You can associate your brand with very good brands, and by association, you create a strong brand as well. But don't forget that this has to be as well with together with the experience of the product or the service that you are selling. If you are selling gold, but then your product or service is not great, it will not work. Everything has to be, together, all the strategy with marketing and product. So it has to be a joint strategy. So when I did that and I work on the brand, my idea was work on reputation. One of the quick wins that we did was, okay, one of the best way as well to bring reputation, especially to a physical business, is influencer marketing. Like influencer marketing is not, people think influencer marketing in general is for conversion, but influencer marketing in general is for reputation. That's the cost of acquisition is pretty high in general in influencer marketing. So you want the campaigns of influencer marketing to be a branding action, which is what I like to do, okay? So normally you will coordinate influencer marketing campaigns. What I think, it worked the best for us is you need to execute the influencer campaigns together. So if you can get like 50 influencers to come into the clinic and post content in the same week, is better than to bring 200 on 3 months, you know? So the impact has to be together. So if someone follows one or more of these influencers, they said, oh, I saw that brand yesterday from this influencer. Then 2 days after, I see that brand with that influencer. So high impact, concentrated bets on influencer marketing always is very important, especially if you are launching a new product, especially if you are doing a launch campaign of the clinic or you want to announce something. Very impactful and concentrated efforts on there. So that was the second thing that I did, like is how do I make people trust my brand? And once you have like a good brand and you make people, you know, trust the brand and everything makes sense and you have to feel the intuition about it, you have to be proud of the brand you are building, then you say, okay, now how can I make the top of the funnel of the brand? How can I make people discover my brand, okay? And here, to be honest, even for me in B2B, B2B and B2C is almost exactly the same. It can be like a Metaspa, it can be a B2B SaaS product, it can be whatever. For me, the way of doing marketing and the things that I'm telling now, for me is exactly the same. And I apply the same on every business. So the third thing is, okay, how can I make people arrive and discover your brand, your company, your services? So in order to do that, which is an exercise that you do even before, is, okay, who is my audience? Who is my ICP? In our case, for example, on the clinic, and just by intuition, it makes sense, is for me, there is a clear separation between women and men. So here you have 2 audiences. And then there is a clear separation for me, the Spanish people who live here and the expats that are coming and living to Barcelona. So in total, you have 4 audiences. So normally, whenever I do campaigns for attracting top of the funnel, I separate these campaigns in 4. The easiest thing to do is always in B2B, in B2C, which is the thing that I did on the clinic, is paid media. And at the beginning, I started paid media. I worked with many agencies in the past, the best agencies in the world, all the good names that you can imagine on paid media. But at the end of the day, it's you who know about your business. And as a founder, if you really want to go deep and build a good brand and do things correctly because you have all the context, you have to do it yourself, which is what I did. When I started working on that by necessity, one of the first things that I did was getting expert on paid media. In Google Ads, Meta Ads, and all the platforms, they work very similar. At the end of the day, they have conversions, they have campaigns, ad groups, and ads. And then is a game, the thing that people don't understand about paid media is that is a thing about optimization. You need to connect very well all the system. You need to validate that the system works to be able to track very well where a lead is coming from. The most important thing about paid media is to have everything very well connected and understand very well what is success for your business in general. What is the KPI that you want to optimize? Because all these paid media platforms, at the end of the day, what they are doing is optimizing KPI. Normally, the best KPI is ROAS, which is return on advertisement. You can even do returns on profit, which I think is way better, and I use it a lot. But for example, in our case on the clinic, for me, I just started with, okay, what's the cost for me to get a new booking into the clinic? That means to acquire a new customer that books in the clinic and they book an appointment. And because I know the less profit that I make on any appointment in the clinic is like 100 euros, $100 more or less. So anything below that actually is good because the LTV is way higher in general. And you want to have, for example, myself, I want to have an LTV CAC, which is more than 3 always. You can have, there is people that says that LTV CAC, if it's more than 1 is okay. I prefer to have like as much as possible. And actually on the clinic, we have an LTV CAC of around 50 or 100, which is crazy. And even on Didit on B2B, we have like amazing LTV CAC of more than 100 as well. So
explain LTV CAC.
Yeah, so LTV is lifetime value. That means if you are going to acquire one customer, how much on average is he going to spend on your platform, okay? It's not a perfect metric because it depends on retention, it depends on many things, but you can get a very good estimate on lifetime value. And then CAC is the cost of acquisition. How much did you spend to acquire this customer? There is people that they use only the ad spending on acquiring a customer. For example, myself, I like to add as well, for example, if I'm in B2B, the sales cost, I like to add like the events, everything for me is computed in the CAC, not only the ad spending. So if you want to make it easy at the beginning, it's good. You can just consider the ad spending and you can professionalize it and make it more sophisticated over time. But in general, you want to be as real as possible because you are optimizing at the end of the day a machine and you need to understand it. And one of the things, now I'm talking about bringing top of the funnel. The way I like to do it, normally as first thing on any business, it can be B2C or B2B, is starting with paid media. Why? Because you have results directly. You don't need to do outbound, talking with people, understanding. For me, it's a channel where you get more information per time. So you get almost like information, like in a week, you can get a ton of information. And people normally think that, okay, but paid media, I will need to spend a lot of money. Actually, to get the experiments done, it is super cheap. You can get experiments for, let's say, $1,000. You can get very good understanding about if the things that you are doing make sense or not. So in that case, what I did was learn anything about paid media. And let me be honest with you, it's pretty easy to do it. It's just, if you're a technical founder, for example, it will get you, I think, between 80 and 100 hours to have a very good understanding of paid media. And it is super worth it, to be honest, at least to understand the basics of it. And then what I did was connecting the system, which you need obviously to connect your CRM, you need to connect all your tech involved, that normally you will need to use like a go-to-market specialist or an engineer to do that. If you're a technical founder like me, you do everything yourself, from connecting everything, running the paid media campaign, doing the branding. If you can do it everything yourself, it's going to be way better and there's no friction in anything. So in that case, what I did, and I always love to run go-to-market myself, like in the clinic, in the Didit as well. So I control everything. I don't have friction and I enable the channels that I want. So in that case, as you can see here, for example, this is the spending of the last 30 days. We have spent just like 10K on these last 30 days, euros, which is more or less dollars. And the average cost of booking is around $10. So the profit I make just for one booking, I'm not even talking about lifetime value of the person, is $100. So I'm already making 10 times. If that customer, he just came once and he never went back because the experience on the clinic was terrible and 100% of the people churn, I'm already making a huge profit and I can scale that channel. Okay, so I connect everything. I see the website schedule, the booking, everything, all the product works well. People trust my brand. And I already know that I won. I can scale that channel. I can put money on that channel until the clinic is full. And now my objective is, okay, which other channels can work very well? And then in that case, you do organic, SEO, geo. Also, you can do more like campaigns that are B2B distribution, partnerships as well. You can play with the different channels. Also, instead of Meta ads, you do like Google ads. You can play with LinkedIn ads. You can do many things. And then you can be creative on, okay, what are the channels that I can activate? And your goal at the end of the day is you need to get a very good understanding of the channel. And that means what is the CAC, the cost of acquisition of every channel that you have, and what is the lifetime value, so the LTV CAC of every channel. And I love to understand that and also understand very well the saturation point of the channel, how much money you can put on the channel and the CAC to be very constant, let's say. And this, to be honest, I like to do it as an intuition because normally, especially if you are doing this kind of business and the market and the time is so big, by intuition is okay, but you can professionalize it as well. But once I do that, I understand that I can scale the channel, I can scale everything, then I see everything, all the go-to-market, just as a big funnel. There is a top of the funnel, which I know how to bring people on the top of the funnel, which in that case is, for example, Meta ads, and you can activate many channels and bring more people and just spend more. And then you have to understand very well each step of the funnel. So on the top one, people discover about the Meta spa, they discover about Didit, they discover about my company, my services. Then there's going to be some drop-off. Especially if you do like a consumer, it's very easy to measure that. For example, you have like, they discover your brand, then the sign up, then the activation, and then the purchase of the subscription, So you will have what we call conversion events. What are the important events on your business? And you have to track everything. You have to understand very well how to track everything. On B2B SaaS, for example, on B2C consumer, it's pretty easy. For example, let's say Didit. I have, okay, how many people they land on my website? How many people that they landed on my website, they sign up? How many people that they sign up, they actually did one verification? How many people actually integrated through API? And how many people actually did 50 verifications in production? And then how many people really paid for the product? So as you see, I understand very well the journey of my customer. And because I understand it very well, I can measure everything. So for example, in that example, I have like 6 conversion events. And now, because I measure everything and I track everything, I can understand the conversion of every step of the funnel. Which conversion is, let's say if 100 people go and land on your website, how many of these 100, they actually sign up on your platform? So if you understand that very well, let's say it's a 10%, now there is 2 objectives that you need to do. One is keep bringing people on the top of the funnel, and the other, keep improving the conversion rate of every stage of the funnel. And then you can get creative. How can I do it? Normally, you can do like changes in the website. And if you do changes in the website, normally the layout, the messaging, you can improve the conversion rate. You can also work on the brand, which is the one that I like the most. Whenever you work on the brand, you suddenly see all these steps, the conversion rate to go higher. One, for example, very good example is when we announced that we joined Y Combinator, I measure all the conversion rates. So when I announced that, people trust more our brand because we have the YC logo now. So the conversion rate of every stage of the funnel, it improved a lot. When we announced the round recently, the seed round, that 7.5 million seed round, every step of the funnel, the conversion improved as well. When you announce a good partnership as well. So there is many ways of improving the conversion rate. As your job as a go-to-market strategist, once you have everything very well set up, is, okay, how can I make more people go on the top of the funnel? And how can I make the conversion rate of every stage of the funnel to be improved? So I would say that's the basic thing. Obviously, you can go and talk for hours just on every stage of the funnel, paid media, SEO, geo. But in general, the way you have to think, for example, one of the things that I did after like showing that Meta was profitable was, okay, I know it's profitable, let's start working on organic, SEO, geo. I built a lot of software even for myself since the last 2 years, where I have my SEO scores, geo scores, I have all the funnel very well tracked, the cost of acquisition, the LTV, and then it's just an optimization game. Once you set up very well and you are able to track everything very well, it's just an optimization game. And then the good thing about agents actually is that before, like 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, when I started doing that, everything was manually. So I needed to understand very well the step of the funnel, then do it manually, then say, okay, how can I decrease that number instead of 9 euros? How can I make that number go to 7? And it was like a very manual. The good thing about agents, and if you are like an engineer like me who understands all the system, then you can actually run, which I call autopilots, where we have daily running autopilots, which are doing A/B testing experiments, that they are doing new creatives, that they are doing improvement on the SEO, that they are checking all my competitors, creating blog page articles, that you can start like playing around and automatically improve all the conversion events of the funnel and also bring more people on the top of the funnel. So it's an optimization game. And if you understand very well all the system involving go-to-market, then you win. Like there is no other success. So if you realize now and you check my clinic, we are number 1 positioned on SEO. We are number 1 positioned on geo as well. We are running Meta ads super profitably. So now we can scale, and I know it. So we can start and opening more clinics because I have the confidence that the processes, the product, the service is so good, and the funnel is so good that I can replicate this strategy in another location. Okay, so that's why we are opening Madrid, for example. And the playbook is copy-paste. The thing that I just have to enable new locations, and do exactly the same that I did. And then there is no more secrets. It's just understanding very well the funnel and keep optimizing it. And maybe I do more videos and I explain a little bit more about each part of it. But go-to-market in general is pretty interesting. Now that we have AI doing most of the product, actually there is product is also like a big thing. But let's say AI is doing most of the tech today. The thing that will, and is already differentiating companies, is who is the best at distribution, who is the best at building brands. So I encourage you to understand very well go-to-market, because it can be a game changer for your company.